Hello, welcome to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper. So today's job is to cut a keyway in a 2 7/16 inch shaft. We got to cut a 5/8 keyway, 5/16 of an inch deep, and we're going to do it on the Cincinnati No. 2 horizontal mill. If you remember back a while, I cut a deep groove in a piece of bar stock on the mill here, and these two vices are indicated in perfectly to the spindle. And they don't leave this mill, really. For the most part, it just does long cuts like that, and I just leave these vices set up, indicated in all the time. And we're going to go ahead and put the bar stock in the vise, and then switch out from our 3/4 inch wide cutter here to a 5/8 cutter. And here's the cutter we're going to be using. It's a 5-inch diameter, 5/8 wide, with an 1.25 inch bore. When I bought this Cincinnati mill quite a few years ago, I sourced every cutter I could possibly find, and as I wear them out I just replace them. But I've got bins full of horizontal cutters for this machine and different arbors and everything, so I'm well equipped with it. But let's go ahead and tear down everything and get her switched over to this cutter. All right, so we got our cutter in there, we got our arbor support on, everything's tightened down. I'll clean up our cutter that I took out and put it away, and then I'll bring the shaft over and we'll get the shaft in there and indicate in off the shaft and start cutting our keyway. Okay, first thing we're going to do is run the table all the way to the end so I know where I'm at. And according to the drawing, I'm going actually about 14 thousandths deeper than what is recommended by the machinery handbook. So we'll cut this a little bit deeper than the book says. So I'm just going to set the indicator up here just because I want to double check and just make sure I got it in there flat. And for the application, it's not super critical, but we'll just see where we're at. And put our indicator at 0. Actually, let me adjust that a little more up, so we're about mid-range of our travel. Okay, let's see where we're at. And we're a little off. I might have to clamp my bar and pull it down on the other end. I was struggling there to get it in the vise. So I'll go ahead and grab a clamp and put a clamp over here to pull it down and then re-clamp it in the vise. Alright, so I'll go ahead and release this vise. And yeah, look at that, pulled it right down. Put a little more on there just to make sure she's tight. Alright, I don't know how much glare you guys are seeing there, but about 5/1000ths. In that 5/1000ths range. I guess I can live with that. Let's set up the indicator the other direction and just check it perpendicular to the spindle. Alright, well here's hoping nothing moved on me. Except the camera. I hit the camera with the tripod with the table. Let me move this back over, get out of the way. Alright. Now hopefully you can see that good. But I didn't see any movement. Yeah, a little bit there. So I may want to try taking that out, and that's just a matter of loosening up the one vise and just tap it over. So I think I'm going to do that just to get this as true as possible. That I can live with. So I don't know how well you can see this, but I got this piece of paper here, and I just measured it. It's 3/1000ths. This is my feeler gauge for setting my cutter. So let's go ahead and bring the cutter in and touch off. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start our spindle up, and I'll bring the table up to the cutter. Actually, I need to run it out a little because I don't want to hit. Okay, now I'll take my little paper feeler gauge here and we just kind of hold it there lightly. When it grabs it, that's 3/1000ths, so we'll set our readout zero our readout, and turn it into 3/1000ths. Zero our readout again. And now we're ready to go in halfway to our center. You know, I can be an idiot sometimes. Good thing we stop and look before doing anything. I gotta go halfway of my cutter now, which is 3.3125. Close enough. Zero it. Now we'll go in our 1.219, which is half of our 437, 2.437. All right, and lock her down. Now our cutter is centered. I'll go ahead and run it out to the end, touch it off, take it off the end, and then start the cut. And again, this is another good spot to use our paper feeler gauge. So I'll just hand crank it in until it looks close. There we are. Zero it, and 3/1000ths should touch. Yep, just started touching. Alright, so I'll run it off the end here. I'll watch though for center, and I mean the length of this keyway isn't critical, but and now what I'm going to do is a full depth of cut. So this keyway will be the full depth. So my customer specs calls for a 2.070 finish. So that's 366 thousandths that I need to go in. And I'm going to do this in one pass so it's nice and clean. $366. And lock her in. And did she move? No, not too bad. And we'll go ahead and turn the oil on and engage the feed. Okay, we got our oil turned on. It's dribbling nicely on the cutter there. Sorry about that, I forgot to hit record when it started to cut, and I'm cutting at 1 3/4 a minute. And don't forget your support bearing, make sure you put oil in that. I already did that and we're all good, but All right, we're creeping up on our 16 inches. And that's 16 inches to the center of the cutter. And when I get there, I'll just pop it out of gear, crank the table down, and shut her down. "16 inches, 3 thousandths, 3,007 tenths." That's pretty good. I'll run this thing to the end, we'll clean it up, and then we'll measure our keyway, see how it looks. All right, well there it is. Now I've got my gauge blocks, it's all cleaned up, and this is 500 or 626 thou, and it'll just barely start in a couple spots, won't go at all. There. Here is 625. And the specs on the Keyway calls for -0 +1. So it's probably actually 625.5 because this fits in, the 625 fits, but the 626 does not. So I say we're pretty good. Okay, now measuring my depth. The drawing called for 2.070 finished, and we are two point 2.070, right on. That's a nice thing with these horizontal milling cutters. They cut so accurate if you set them up correctly. So you know my motto, get it done right the first time. And I had one shot at this to cut this Keyway, and it came out absolutely perfect. And you know, with these horizontal mills, I've just had so much good luck or accuracy with them. They've just been incredible machines, and absolutely love them. Been running them my whole career, the last 20 years, and just love everything about them. I probably don't know everything there is to know, but I do pretty well. And this is a good example of done right the first time. So this was supposed to be a 4-shaft job. It's a debarker. That there's a whole bunch of work that gets done to this shaft yet after this. Bunch of stuff gets welded to it. Those stars that I cut out on the torch table, that's another piece of this job. There's a lot to this. So there was supposed to be 4 of them. The cost of material went insane, and the customer's just replacing the one that broke. They always have a set of 4 on hand, the drive and the 3 driven. This is a drive. They broke a drive, so they replaced that one with their spare. This is a replacement for the spare, and we're probably going to be making the other 3 coming up in the next few months, depending on how things go. So looking forward to that too, and playing with the torch table some more on that job. I got a couple ideas and making some modifications of that as we go. So with that, check out my Store Frontier account, pick up some cool shirts for yourselves, and until next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.